Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDL44. So I do not have the time that I'd like to give you to provide for this video because I'm at work and it's busy. So I'll leave it at that. But what I want to say is that the Clippers did win their game, as I predicted, Game 7 against the Dallas Mavericks. I just didn't think Dallas was a better team than the Clippers. I knew that they had gotten off to a quicker start, but I just thought ultimately when it came down to it, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard was a little too much for Luka Doncic, especially when his co-star Kristaps Porzingis isn't really working out like that. I think, to be completely honest, I think he's been winning in spite of Kristaps. I think they've had a lot of good things out of some of their role players, though. Tim Hardaway Jr. gave him a really nice season this year. Dorian Finney-Smith took some steps forward in his career for sure. Rick Brunson. Is it Jalen Brunson? I'm Jalen Brunson, Rick Brunson's kid. It's turned into one of the more consistent young guards in the NBA, and I really like what I saw out of him this year. So on and so forth. Josh Richardson is still a nice player in this league. So the Dallas Mavericks aren't completely in the toilet. I think they're going to lose their pick to the New York Knicks, which I think is going to be it's going to be bad for them. But all in all, they still have the great Luka Doncic, and their team was good enough to give the Clippers all they could handle last year and this year. I know they're disappointed in how this season went. I know they're upset that they didn't beat the Clippers this year, but they were damn close. They were damn close. I just think that Luka just needs a little more help, particularly with his power forward center position. I think he could lose a lot of talent there. Maybe a Karl Anthony Town can kind of come around or something like that, and really, really bring that type of leadership that they need. That second co-star that I think Luka can win with. So that's everything on the Dallas side of things. Not a bad end to their season at all. Going 7 games with a team that I think is better than them. That's pretty good. So yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. And as far as the Clippers are concerned, they just barely eased by, man. They literally just barely eased by. If it wasn't for the heroics of Kawhi Leonard in Game 6, they definitely would not have won this series. I didn't see any highlights from Game 7, so I'll be watching that, and maybe I'll talk about it. Maybe I'll leave it alone. But moving forward, now we got to talk about the Western Conference Semifinals. So I'm going to just give you guys a quick little rundown of what I think of these two matchups, and then I'll end the video and get back to work. So the first thing I want to give you guys is the Utah Jazz versus the Los Angeles Clippers. And that matchup is extremely, extremely interesting to me. And then you also have the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets, which is also an extremely, extremely fantastic matchup. So two great ones. To be completely honest with you guys, I made an entirely different video giving you guys a rundown of the semifinals, and then I realized that I had the matchups all mixed up. Somebody actually mentioned that the Utah Jazz would be playing, I thought they were playing Phoenix. And I think I did a whole video on that, left it up for like 3 days, and then realized that was not going to be the matchup. So I deleted those videos. But this is what I think. Utah Jazz going to be playing Los Angeles Clippers. And that matchup provides a great deal of trouble for the Utah Jazz because the Utah Jazz have no answer for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. The Utah Jazz have a fantastic system that they run. They shoot the three really, really well. They got Rudy Gobert, who's probably going to win his matchup with Zubac pretty easily. But Donovan Mitchell's going to need to be phenomenal. Jordan Clarkson's going to need to have great games every game, and Conley's going to have to play well every game. They're going to have to get stuff out of guys like Bogdanovich and so on and so forth. They have a lot of players that they're going to have to get a lot out of in order to beat this LA Clipper team. I know the Clippers stumbled against Dallas. I do not expect them to come out as slow against the Jazz. I think that matchup is a bit more it fits them a little better when you talk about that forward position. I really don't know who's going to guard those two forwards that those Clippers have. It's a lot of matchups in that forward area, power forward, small forward area. I just don't know what they're going to do. The Clippers, on the other hand, have players they can throw at Donovan Mitchell. You got Patrick Beverly, you got Rondo, you got several other guys, of course, that you can try to get away with putting them on. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. They are a underwhelming team defensively, collectively, but at any moment that can change. At any moment, and that's the beauty of the Clippers franchise, their roster rather. Yeah. Do they play great team defense? Absolutely not. But would anybody be surprised if they held the Utah Jazz to 69 points in the next game? No. Because Kawhi Leonard has natural defensive ability. Now, he may not be playing up to his ability on the defensive end, but he has natural defensive ability. And at any time, he could turn it right back on. And with his confidence heading upwards, his conditioning as good as it's been since he left the Spurs, I would be concerned. No Lakers available to kind of offset their mental health as a team. I would be concerned. Because right now, I don't think the Clippers have anybody in front of them that they're afraid of in the Western Conference. I don't think there's a team left that the Clippers look at and say, yeah, they give us trouble. I don't. Not if they're playing well. So this is one of those situations where I would say the Clippers are going to win this series. I think Clippers are going to win this series in probably about 6. Everybody's healthy. Donovan's back. So Utah's going to get some games out of this. They're going to get 2 games out of this, I think, maybe even 3. But ultimately, I think the Clippers are going to win the series. I like Utah's system. Utah's going to shoot threes, and they're going to shoot them a lot. So if the Clippers don't guard the three-point line, this goes the other way, period. But if the Clippers can kind of get it together, I think they learned some lessons from that last series. I think they got jolted awake by the Dallas Mavericks, and I think knowing that the Lakers are not around again is going to really help them. It's going to really help them mentally as a team. I think it's going to help a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers get to the finals. Not this year. I think this is the best opportunity they've probably ever had. And I said at the beginning, midway through the season, some videos back, that I thought the Clippers could overachieve in these playoffs. And I think it's lined up even more so now for that to be the case than it was maybe about a week ago. So that's what I think of the Utah Jazz and LA Clippers. I got the Clippers winning that series in 6. Now, the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets is a little different. And the reason why it's a little different is because I look at that matchup and I say, boy, this is when Denver's going to need Jamal Murray. I didn't think they really needed him as much in that first series. But going up against Devin Booker, you're going to have somebody who can offset that killer instinct that he has. Now, I know they've been finding a lot of good stuff out of guys. Porter's been playing great. Of course, Jokic is your MVP, in my opinion. You got Brewer. Not Brewer. Why do I always want to call that man Brewer? I always forget his name, but he's a small forward for the Denver Nuggets. They got Austin Rivers, who stepped in and done a real fantastic job at the shooting guard role. They got Campazzo, who's had a breakout rookie season. Very, very pleased with what I've seen out of him from a statistical standpoint. I haven't watched him play, so I can't really say, but he looks good on the paper. And so on and so forth. Denver has JaVale McGee, the center that we wish we had still. It's a lot of stuff that Denver has that I like. Obviously, of course, Aaron Gordon, who's now more acclimated into that team. He's probably more used to being on that team than probably ever before. So Denver's looking good, and I think they're going to win some games, but I don't think they can outduel Devin Booker without Jamal Murray. I think this is a Murray-Booker matchup extraordinaire, and unfortunately, there's just no Murray. He's hurt. He's out for the season. So this is definitely, in my opinion, going to go Phoenix way. I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think Phoenix is going to rush through them. In fact, I kind of think this is going to go 7. But I think at the end of the day, when you're talking about Chris Paul and Devin Booker, Ayton, Ayton's going to definitely lose that matchup against Jokic. No question, Jokic is going to have a good time. But Ayton is going to put a body on him. And what we've learned in that last series with the Lakers is that Ayton's in great shape. He's ready to go. So when you're talking about Ayton versus Jokic, yeah, Jokic is going to win the battle. But Ayton should, in theory, wear him down. So I said the same thing about Ayton being worn down by our bigs, and it didn't happen. So maybe I'm not looking at that right. But from where I'm sitting, Jokic tends to have issues with guys who go at him, like straight at him. He can play some defense, but his best defense is his offense. So I think that's going to be a little bit of a tough series for Jokic in theory. Doesn't have to be, but in theory, he's going to have a real center to deal with, who's younger than him and in better shape than him. That's a thing. So all in all, the small forward position is going to be interesting in this series because I do like the matchup between Porter and Bridges. I like it a lot. Right now, I'm in the Arclight patio area, third floor, excuse me. These people bothering me today, man. I don't want to be bothered. Anyway, so as I was saying, at this point in time, I just think it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough for them to out-duel the guards. Oh, we're talking about small forwards. So as far as small forwards, I love the Porter-Bridges matchup. I think Bridges is such a fantastic defender, and Porter is such a phenomenal offensive player that you're going to find scoring all over the place. on both sides, you're going to see defense being played as well. So I think that could be exciting. Gordon can potentially have a field day because I don't know who's guarding him. So if he steps into his 30-point bag, that definitely bodes well for the Denver Nuggets. But if he's scoring 15, 14 points, playing like a role player, that's not enough for the Denver Nuggets. They're going to need him to make up for some of the scoring that Murray would have given them in this series. So pay very close attention to that. Between him and Austin Rivers, they're going to be looked to score and score a lot. So it really comes down to I believe that Phoenix is going to win the series because I believe Phoenix is a better defensive team, and I believe they have their closer and Denver does not. So that's what I got, man. I really believe that. I think the Phoenix Suns are probably going to win that series in six, maybe even 5, honestly. I'll give Jokic 2 games. So Phoenix in 6 for that one. And I got Clippers in, I'll say 6. Clippers. I'll give the Clippers. Yeah, I think they can prevent a 7th game in that series against the Jazz. If they start off hot enough, I think they can prevent it. So yeah, I got the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Clippers going to the Western Conference Finals, and I'm not going to talk about that until it's real. But that's what my predictions at this point for the Western Conference. And yeah, I think I'm pretty much ready to get back to work. I thank you guys for watching. My name is BDF44. I'm out.